So how about something a little bit different? This is the 1967 Mini MOKE, and it belongs to one of the long-term viewers, subscribers of the channel, Steve Sayers.
Right, bit of a Sprout update. So we've been doing a few miles in Sprout. I've probably done nearly 300 in it, I guess, since all the restoration work was done. It's been going fine, but it's developed a rattle. I think I know what it is. So as you're driving along, as you go past sort of shop windows and that, you can hear a rattle from underneath. It's definitely the exhaust. And I think it sounded like a baffle broken up, but of course it's a stainless steel exhaust in the rear, so I'm assuming the inside is stainless as well. But I've heard that type of rattle before. I think the catalyst has not broken up, but has come loose in its housing. So I'm not sure how the actual monolith, is it a monolith? The bit inside the catalyst, I'm not sure how that's held inside. I'm sure it must be wrapped in something. And for whatever reason, I reckon that has come loose. So we've got to take the exhaust system off and we'll have a look. Bit of heat to help it on its way. Rusty bolts. Right then, so we got it off. It didn't put up too much of a fight. But if you look inside, you can see the catalyst has just started to break up. That corner off it's broken there. And luckily, those bits were still inside. So they're those bits that have broken off. They, yeah, so I want to make sure none of that has gone into the rear box. But like I say, I've got those two bits there, which I think are the bits missing. There's another bit lodged down the back. So luckily, it looks like it hasn't got to the stage where it's broken completely and gone into the rest of the exhaust, because like I say, that will block up the rest of the exhaust. So just to get us by for the time being, I'm just going to put a mask on. I'm going to break up this bit of loose catalyst in there and just take it out. So it will have the catalytic converter can on it, but there'll be no actual catalyst inside, and obviously I'll have to try and get myself. They're not that expensive to buy new ones, to be honest, so I might just buy a new one. So there we go. Quite easy to do that. It breaks up quite easily. I didn't want to smash it into a million pieces because it just makes a mess then. And I wore my spraying mask while I'd done it. I'm not sure whether this stuff is harmful, but it breaks up quite fine anyway. So yeah, just to be on the safe side. So that's the catalyst empty now. So there's nothing inside there. So you want a cheap way of making a decat pipe. If you're prepared to wreck your catalytic converter, although that is probably an expensive way of doing it. Catalysts are expensive. The reason they're expensive is they have precious metals inside, which they need in there to actually make the catalyst effect. I think it's platinum they have in them, and they have some other rare metals as well. So all of this lot is actually worth money, but I'm not going to put it in a dustpan brush and go and recycle it. You generally sell complete catalytic converters. People will buy them. Obviously, when they break them up like this, they're probably worth nothing. But I did notice looking at this one, so the catalytic converter should be, it's not a filter, it's free flowing. So these channels, that sort of honeycomb pattern, should be clear all the way through. It shouldn't be blocked up. That's part of the front end of the catalyst because it's black, so it's sooty. And by the time you get to the back end, obviously it's clean. There's no soot there. But I noticed this one is quite blocked up. I don't know what part of the catalyst that is from. I suspect it's the bottom somewhere, but that's got blocked up over the years. So that would have been limiting performance a bit anyway. I mean, Sprout goes pretty well as it is, to be honest. But that won't have been helping things. So we'll get this all cleaned up. Obviously, with no catalyst inside there, it won't be meeting exhaust emissions. If I took it for an MOT, it would now fail the MOT. So it's literally just to tide me by so I can move it around, and I'll get a catalyst ordered up for it. As I say, I don't know whether I'll just get a new old stock second-hand one, or whether I'll just buy a brand new one. I don't think they're that expensive. So let me get this cleaned up and get it all back together. Oh, look at that. I bought a spot welder as well. I don't need one. I've borrowed Mark's in the past, but it's always nice to have one myself. And it's a spare for if ever Mark's goes wrong as well. And it's got really long tongs on it, prongs, whatever you call. So good for getting into difficult to reach places. Right, so there we go. That's that little job done. Well, half done anyway. I still need to get a replacement catalyst for it. But it was more just if I want to use it, if I want to go out in it. Talking about sort of a mini club get together this weekend. At least I can do it without the worry that that catalyst was going to go down and block up the rest of the exhaust, which I'm sure it would have done. Noise wise, it sounds a little bit noisier. Overall I don't think it's noisier, but it's just a bit more tinny, a bit more raspy when you accelerate. Oh, didn't notice the pops and bangs before either. That sounds okay. I'll just run it around the block quickly. It sounds fine, as I say, just a little bit more tinny. I did notice another thing immediately, so I've literally just gone around the block and I can see straight away soot in the exhaust. So I wasn't getting that with the catalyst on there before. It stayed squeaky clean. So obviously the no catalyst in there, and yeah, a bit more soot in the exhaust.
So how about something a little bit different? This is the 1967 Mini MOKE, and it belongs to one of the long-term viewers, subscribers of the channel, Steve Sayers. And he contacted me, I guess a year or so ago. In a strange coincidence, his dad lives up the road from me, and he contacted me and needed the rear radius arms doing, which of course I've got the tools to do, so I'm more than happily obliged. So this is Steve's 1967 MOKE. It is a father-son project, so Steve has known this car pretty much all his life, certainly since a young boy, and it used to be a local car to him. It got sold and went down to the West Country, but Steve tracked the car down, and between him and his dad they bought the car back again and have kind of brought it back home, and Steve's now undertaking a full restoration on the car. So the body and shell has been restored by a MOKE specialist in Wales, and they've done it to a very, very high standard, and it is the original shell. So rather than buying a new shell kind of off the shelf and rebuilding it, this is still an original car with all of its original features. So it looks absolutely fantastic. Steve's got the job of putting it back together now, but I'm sure it's going to look absolutely fantastic, and as Steve progresses a little bit further, I should go along and have a look how he's getting along. But thanks Steve for inviting me around to have a look at the car. It looks absolutely great, and hopefully you viewers enjoy it as well.